This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
On the picket line, thousands of Nova Scotia long-term care workers begin a strike over wage dispute.
Cannabis vote. Glooscap First Nation will decide on whether to allow and regulate sales.
And Fiona fallout. A Nova Scotia man is still fighting his insurer for home repairs years after the hurricane.
Periods of rain will clear away as we move into Tuesday. Temperatures variable. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. More than 2,000 workers at long-term care homes in Nova Scotia are on the picket lines.
Negotiations between the union that represents the workers and the province have reached an impasse. CUPE says the strike will initially involve 24 long-term care homes. The CBC's Kyle Moore reports.
From one end of the province to the other, long-term care workers hit the streets with signs, flags, and noisemakers, hoping the province will hear their displeasure with the current contract offer.
Our members are very aware of the package, and they've told us loud and clear, as you can see behind me, that they're not taking it.
The living wage in the Halifax area was around $28.30 in 2024, well above what some workers on the picket lines say they are making.
Currently, our lowest paid members make $18.77. People can't afford to live. They can't make ends meet on that type of wage.
The government has offered wage increases of between 12% and 24%, and pay bumps would be retroactive to 2023, when the last collective agreement expired.
It is the same deal that has been accepted by 27 long-term care facilities that are non-CUPE.
Caught in the middle, the residents. Some care homes have already paused recreation and volunteer programs during the strike.
I want to assure all Nova Scotians that an organization cannot go on strike unless there is an essential service agreement in place. And that ensures that things like bathing, dressing, feeding, and medication are all things that are going to continue.
But on the picket lines today, some workers say something needs to change, with many working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet.
Being on strike, people take a huge financial hit, but we're hoping that it'll all be worth it in the end.
CUPE says they are willing to get back to the table, but will stay on the streets for as long as it takes. Kyle Moore, CBC News, Sydney.
Police in New Glasgow have charged a youth for allegedly taking what they describe as a replica handgun into a business. Police say the youth had shown this replica weapon to staff at a restaurant on George Street on Saturday. He was arrested at the restaurant the next day carrying the weapon, which police describe as a BB gun. The youth faces 2 counts of possession of a dangerous weapon and 1 count of possessing a prohibited weapon.
Cannabis sales on Mi'kmaq reserves have become a heated issue between the province, the RCMP, and Mi'kmaq store owners and supporters. People are also talking about what to do about it on reserves. On the Glooscap First Nation in the Annapolis Valley, the issue is coming down to whether cannabis sales should be allowed, and if so, who should profit from them. The CBC's Elizabeth Chu was invited to the reserve and has the story.
On the Glooscap First Nation, a sign points the way into the community. Next to it, a small placard shows the direction to a cannabis store, sometimes called dispensaries. The signs are at a crossroad, and so is this community, as it asks its members 3 questions. Yes or no to cannabis, and if it's yes, should individuals or the community profit?
So it's not, leadership is just making all these decisions, in the boardroom and then moving forward.
Consultation and then a vote in a referendum. That's the way things are done here, according to Gail Tupper.
Our community has been created on community engagement.
She's a band counselor whose biggest cannabis concern is health and safety. Only about 125 people live on the reserve. She's among them.
When you drive into other communities, you can see the cannabis signs everywhere. And I always worry about the youth. Is it going to be normal for them to see cannabis signs everywhere? That's the part that concerns me, is the normalization of using cannabis.
There is one cannabis store on the reserve. It's called Robin's Nest Treaty Truck House. Robin Hazard is the owner. She's also a band member and says none of her products come from organized crime, which RCMP have been cracking down on.
Can you say who your suppliers are?
As we're in the middle of this process, it makes no sense to provide just minuscule and information that would just make it harder for the process to flow.
Her store is located on land she occupies through a certificate of possession, a CP, which she purchased. If the community votes no to cannabis, she'll appeal that in court.
If the community was to say no, that we couldn't, I would say that they're then infringing on my rights as a CP title owner to not be able to use my land as I see fit.
Are we turning in here?
Yeah, we'll turn into here.
Michael Peters is the CEO of Glooscap Ventures, the band's business development arm. The band voted to create this commercial area, Glooscap Landing. It's separate from the residential area.
If the community decides, it'll be used for cannabis retail as well.
Profits from the band's businesses pay for 83% of their expenses, from programs and services to salaries. Last Christmas, each member received a $1,000 check, an increase from previous community profit sharing. Cannabis revenues would also go into that pot. As for a potential cannabis supplier,
Are you folks at all entertaining the idea of going into a partnership with NSLC?
I think everything is on the table.
this contentious issue coming down to a community vote following provincial raids and blockades. Chief Peters says this was all avoidable had the provincial government talked to chiefs to reach an agreement.
And when that doesn't happen, this is what kind of happens. Bad situations start to occur.
Band members will vote on their first cannabis law, likely in August, during the band's annual General Assembly. Elizabeth Chu, CBC News, Glooscap First Nation.
And with us now, Ryan Snoddon to talk weather.
And we've certainly been seeing those April showers.
Yeah, that's right. All good, of course. We need the wet weather, but we've been getting our fair share over the last few weeks, no doubt. And more to come through tonight as we look at the weather systems map. Periods of rain will continue. We are going to be looking at temperatures on the rise overnight and into tomorrow morning and continuing to rise, especially across central and western areas of the province. However, the winds shift to north tonight. And so, yes, the sun will help warm us up here into the 11, 12, 13, 14, even 15 to 17 range down in the southwest. But with that northerly flow tomorrow, temperatures are going to be cooler across the Northumberland shore and into Cape Breton, especially for Inverness County. So the devil in the details this time of year, and it so often it's all about the wind and, of course, the sun. Now, as we look at the outlook, note the wet weather clearing away, still a lingering chance for a shower or drizzle on Tuesday morning. Then we're into that sun and cloud mix into the afternoon, helping to warm things up. Next system, that will move through primarily Tuesday night into Wednesday morning and then a bit of a break. And then we're watching our next system, which is going to be on the approach through the day on Thursday. So an unsettled week, but some breaks of sun and temperatures not too bad. Your full 7 days coming up.
Looking forward to it. Thanks,
Thank
Ryan.
you.
Thank you.
3.5 years after post-tropical storm Fiona rocked Atlantic Canada, an East Mountain, Nova Scotia man's home has not been fully repaired because of an insurance dispute. And he's not alone in still having an insurance claim from Fiona. The CBC's Richard Woodbury reports.
Stephen McMillan has been in an insurance dispute for nearly 4 years. His home was damaged by post-tropical storm Fiona, and repairs are not finished. He says it's hard to return here.
It's just gut-wrenching to, like I say, to come in here and then see your daughter's name on her room and them not being here.
Post-tropical storm Fiona was one of the most powerful and destructive storms in Canadian history. Initial roofing repairs were botched. Water continued leaking into the home. By then, other complications such as mold and water damage were prevalent. At odds with his insurer, Bel Air Direct and its adjuster, he turned to a third party for help. Unlike an independent adjuster who represents insurers, public adjusters represent property owners and say they will get the best deal for their client. They are either paid a commission out of the insured's final settlement or an hourly rate plus expenses. Francis Martin says McMillan's claim has been complicated because there was a lot of damage that was not addressed promptly or properly. He says his company ran radio ads trying to target people with lingering Fiona claims a couple years ago.
We had received quite a large influx of claims that maybe we didn't anticipate because we figured there would just be a few stragglers, but it turns out that there's a widespread issue of Fiona, even still to this day.
McMillan spent last winter living in a trailer on the property. On days where it dipped below -3, he did not have running water.
They know what they're doing, and it's deliberate. This ignore, delay, deflect, deny, and then defend. Nothing. Just trying to starve you out, hoping that you'll die.
McMillan says the hardest part of the ordeal is being separated from his kids. There's no room for them in the trailer, so they're living with their mother.
It's something you can't really describe until you go through it. I mean, they're your everything, right? You live for them. Everything you did for them.
Bel Air Direct says because of privacy requirements, it could not comment on the matter. But the company said of the 7,000 claims that were filed with it because of Fiona, more than 99% have been resolved. Richard Woodbury, CBC News, East Mountain.
Basketball Nova Scotia says sanctions will come for fans involved in a fight during the U14 boys provincial gold medal basketball game in March. The CBC's Molly McNaughton has the details.
Fans at this U16, U18 girls championship game seem to be getting along, even though they're cheering for different teams. That's reassuring for the executive director of Basketball Nova Scotia, Lori Lancaster. Ahead of the tournament, the organization released a statement addressing inappropriate spectator behavior. It read, in part, "Any form of abuse, aggression, or threatening behavior at our events will not be tolerated. Individuals who engage in this behavior will be removed from the facility and may be subject to further disciplinary action, including suspension from future events." That is exactly what may happen to several people involved in a physical altercation between fans during the U14 boys provincial gold medal game in Dartmouth last month. According to Lancaster, police were called, but as far as she knows, no charges were laid. However, she says Basketball Nova Scotia will be handing out sanctions to those involved. She says suspensions are likely.
We need to educate, our spectators, everyone involved with the game, about decorum and about behavior in our facilities.
Ed McHugh is a veteran basketball referee with more than 50 years of experience. He says he's seen an increase in aggressive behavior from coaches and parents.
There's behavior in gyms today that would never occur when I first started refereeing. Part of my theory is I teach post-secondary, and part of my theory is that social media has created an environment where the filters are off now. And so people like keyboards feel like they can enter anything and say anything. And I think that has now crept into our face-to-face world.
At this tournament, some parents say the most hurt by violent incidents in the stands are those on the court.
I think anything like that takes the real focus off the kids is tough. And what youth sports does to not only the kids growing up, but our communities and our province as a whole.
At the end of the day, Lancaster says this is about youth growing in sport, and spectators and fans should be setting good examples for the kids. Molly McNaughton, CBC News, Dartmouth.
The first ever Atlantic Canadian Dart Championships took place in Halifax area on the weekend.
The tournament, called Battle of the Atlantic, has been the talk of the dart community for more than 35 years. The top 24 players from each province competed in the event, and Team Nova Scotia and Team New Brunswick went head-to-head in a two-day battle for first place.
At 27 years old, Nova Scotian Braden Campbell is one of the top-ranked players in Canada. He says the Canadian dart scene is growing.
You're getting more and more people that are youth players coming up and introducing themselves to the game, and it's really good, and it's really good for the sport as well.
She took home the title, besting New Brunswick 246 to 122.
This year, only men played, but the league says next year they hope to see women compete. They're also expanding to include PEI and Newfoundland and Labrador.
There's a look at the early morning sky in Halifax, right from our building. Ryan is up next with the full weather forecast. Stay with us.
All right, yeah. Damp day today in Nova Scotia, no doubt about that, but, better days ahead.
Yes. Ryan, you've got some optimistic news.
Well, I think temperature-wise, it's optimistic, right? And we still do need that rain, especially through the valley where things continue to be drier than average. So we're looking at, pretty good week, I think, overall. We'll have a little bit of sun, a little bit of shower activity. Steadiest rain really on tap for tonight. And let's first have a look at our webcam video. And pretty damp, soggy scene there at Badek. Thanks to Nova Scotia webcams for this and live shot. And indeed, these periods of rain that have been streaming through today will continue for tonight. And fog patches on tap as well. There are the temperatures. We actually likely have been seeing some wet flakes mixing in, especially over higher terrain areas of Cape Breton on the leading edge of this wet weather. And the rain, as I said, will continue for tonight. Note the temperatures bumping up. It's 9 degrees in Keji and down in Shelburne. It's a 1 in Sydney. So we've got a wide variety of temperatures. Those southwest winds ushering in the milder temperatures for tonight. And then we're going to be seeing a shift to northwest winds overnight into tomorrow morning. And that's what will start to drop those temperatures for places like Inverness. But the rest of us, despite the northwest wind, will still climb temperature-wise as that cooler air behind this system doesn't really arrive until tomorrow night into Wednesday. There are those gusts, still gusting 40, 50 kilometers per hour along parts of the coast, and that's going to be the case. Even the radar depicting some of that wet, flurry mix across Cape Breton. Some periods of rain, a break, more rain back to the west, and that's going to be the name of the game through tonight as these periods of rain stream through. About 5 to 15 millimeters on tap for tonight. And then as we look at off to the west, here's our next system and holding hands with this current system, although this one is going to sail through at a much faster pace. Note the cooler air sinking down all the way down towards places like Salt Lake City and San Francisco. And the heat is very much on across the U.S. Southeast. Here's how things are going to play out for tonight. So with those southwest, then west, then eventually northwest winds. But first the southwesterlies, which will have temperatures generally climbing into the 7 to 10 degree range through this evening. So those will be our overnight lows. And then as we work our way through tonight and into tomorrow morning, you can see this is where we'll start. High single, low double digits. Now, despite the model not showing any green here on the map, there is going to be a lingering chance of some showers and drizzle tomorrow. The best chances will be towards Cape Breton and eastern parts of the mainland. But yeah, not a whole lot going on. Just be mindful. Light rain jacket tomorrow morning. Have the umbrella handy if you're going to be on foot. And then as we work our way into the midday time period, already starting to see the sun popping out. And note that northwest wind keeping temperatures capped here in the northeast, whereas with the sun breaking through and the lighter winds, we're really going to warm up here in that increasingly higher sun angle through mid-April. Really starts to become a big factor, but so too is the northwest wind with water temperatures near 1 coming in off the water. It's going to be cool. Inverness County, in fact, I think Cheticamp, Port Hood could see temperatures falling to around 3-4 degrees into the afternoon with that northwest wind, whereas we'll be 8, 9, even 10 degrees through Cape Breton County back towards Richmond County. Temperatures into the double digits across the eastern shore tomorrow. High single digits, New Glasgow up to Tatamagouche, Cobequid Bay, low double digits. Halifax should climb into around the 13, 14 range. And our best chance for 17s tomorrow will be Bridgewater towards Keji. And should be pretty good through places like Greenwood and Kentville. Chance for showers Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Lingering chance into the afternoon, but generally Wednesday afternoon just looks kind of quiet, especially Wednesday evening. And so the best chances, as I said, for Wednesday are going to be in the morning. Note the wind on Wednesday, east to northeast. So the warmest temperatures are going to be here in the Tri-County area near 10 degrees. And then as we look ahead into the Thursday time period, we're talking about showers into the afternoon and evening. That system moving through the overnight will clear the skies through Friday. Should be, again, around 10 to 14 degrees on Friday. Quiet Saturday, showers Sunday. And so, we're getting a little bit of everything this week, but definitely nice to see those double digits and low teens on the board.
Oh, for sure.
Liking that.
Okay, Ryan, thanks so much.
Thanks, Ryan.
Well, oil and gas aren't the only heat sources seeing a spike in recent months. The price of firewood in the Maritimes has also soared because of cost increases for fuel and equipment.
And suppliers in the region don't think those costs are going to come down anytime soon. The CBC's Shane Fowler reports.
For decades, firewood has been the go-to source of heat for many of us New Brunswickers. It's much cheaper than electric baseboard heaters or heating oil, but in recent years, the price of a cord of firewood has gone up. In 2021, the price of a cord of wood cut, split and delivered was about $300, although that does vary from cellar to cellar. These days, the cost has gone up to about $350 a cord, sometimes a touch more.
It went from about $225, $250 a cord, cut, split, delivered, to it's right now, what, $350? It's gone from that to about $375 a cord.
While the cost of firewood has gone up, so have the competing cost of alternate heating sources. So what's the cheapest these days? Well, in New Brunswick, households use 7 major heating methods. Furnace oil used to be a popular choice, but at $1.65 per litre, it takes about $53 to get 1 million BTUs of heat into your home from oil, depending on the efficiency of your furnace. Even more if you pay the current wartime price of $2 per litre or more. Electric baseboards remain popular, but are also pricey at $46.50 per million BTUs of heat after MB Power's latest rate increase. That's pretty close to the current cost of heating with propane, $46, although some dealers do offer discounts. Natural gas is only available in select New Brunswick areas, but at current commodity, delivery and service charges, it's a much cheaper option at about $28.75 per million BTUs to heat a home. At about 10% cheaper still is a high-efficiency pellet stove at $25.95. That leaves 2 options, heat pumps and firewood, as New Brunswick's least expensive heating options at $18.60 per million BTUs for the heat pump and $16.70 for firewood, depending on appliance efficiencies in each case. With some high-efficiency equipment and some haggling skills with your local fuel supplier, you can often cut yourself a better deal. But even though it's a lot of work and it's a bit messy, and prices have gone up, firewood and a good stove is hard to beat for the cheapest way to heat your home in New Brunswick.
Coming up, the leader of the official opposition gives her take on the spring sitting of the Nova Scotia legislature. The Nova Scotia legislature is quiet today, having wrapped up the spring sitting. Last week, it was a sitting where the government had plenty of pushback on its budget cuts as it tries to right the province's finances. Last week, we heard from a representative for the PC government, Government House Leader Brendan Maguire. Tonight, we hear from the leader of the official opposition, NDP's Claudia Chender. Welcome to the set. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of people thought it was going to be a shorter sitting of the legislature.
Yep.
It was a longer, one of the longest. For this government, for sure. How did you see it from where you were sitting? How would you describe this session?
Well, I mean, it was especially long because we were often there 15 hours a day. And I think the government wanted it to be short. That's why people thought it would be. It's not a comfortable place for them. But I think it showed that we have an effective opposition in this province. And as the budget cuts started to roll out and the kind of damage implied by the choices that the government was making, which it was clear they hadn't really fully researched, it was really imperative that we kind of take it to the mat and make sure that we were asking all of the questions that Nova Scotians were sending us and taking the time to debate the budget and a lot of the other legislation that moved through the House.
Okay, talk about the debate. Great question about what we do about the finances of this province. The message was that we're in financial trouble in this province.
Yeah.
We're spending far more than we take in, and it's going to get worse down the road. But there was such pushback to those cuts, as I say. So what do you look at cutting? How do you right the province financially?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, remember that this government inherited a balanced budget, and they've spent a lot of money outside of that and a lot of money with no transparency. So we have to fix that, and we put forward a lot of legislation to that effect. They have to table their expenses. They have to actually use procurement processes so we know where people's money is going. But the reality, Tom, is that the cuts in that budget didn't really address that deficit, and in fact are poised to make it worse. So a lot of those cuts are going to impact our tourism industry. That brings in billions of dollars a year. But the total of those cuts was something like, $130 million, what was left. Our budget's $1.2 billion, it's 1%. So we need, in a way, we need more than that, but we need it to be done in a disciplined way that Nova Scotians understand. And we need to start at the top with the government being responsible for the decisions they make in the same way that Nova Scotians are responsible for their own household income.
So, but what cuts do you think, through your eyes, do you think Nova Scotians would be agreeable to?
Well, again, I think we need to tighten up the way that money goes out the door. So right now, I think a lot of the cuts we're seeing are in fact going to lead to revenue cuts. So we're cutting back on the NSCC and our post-secondary institutions. They generate money, right? We need skilled trades. NSCC trains them. We want to take advantage of the defense contracts that are coming in. That innovation sector largely rests in our post-secondary institutions. But look, we have lots of contracts. The Auditor General came out with a report right in the middle of the session where she felt like there's real overspending going on potentially in the healthcare sector because we have a government, of course, that have said they'll spend what it takes. And that's great. But Nova Scotians expect them to be spending wisely, and they're really losing trust that that's happening. So before we even get to those cuts, we need to make sure that government is actually doing things the right way. They are sending money out the door without contracts. We have a $50 million contract that went to a lobbyist of the Conservative Party of Canada on a handshake. No alternative procurement. We need to fix that.
Do you put some of the taxes back in place? In our NDP government, would you want to put the 1% back on HST, return tolls to highway or bridges? I mean, how do you, you're in a different chair. Let's say you're the premier.
That's right.
How do you change the revenue coming into the province to be able to make more money so that we can get back to balance?
Well, we need revenue. There's no question about that. Right now, we're not in a conversation about raising taxes. Money is tight for people. And what we didn't hear in this session of the legislature was the government talk about solutions for affordability. So we acknowledge that. Those are the conversations we're having with Nova Scotians every day. And we support some of the government's initiatives. So we think that, being a center for wind energy makes a lot of sense, but we want them to actually really focus on that and make sure we're in a position to meet that demand. Like I said, in terms of innovation, we have NATO Diana here in Nova Scotia. That's amazing. We have a lot of money being put into defense federally. We need to be in a position to take advantage of that money. So I think there are lots of revenue opportunities, but I think this government has put out 100 different things, including very controversial items around certain resource extraction that they're not engaging with communities about, that they're not engaging with First Nations about, that's going to mean that those things aren't going to get done, or they're going to get done very slowly. You can't do things if you don't have a social license.
Well, you mentioned this, the time is an element here, isn't it? Because we're talking next year, the budget could be even more punishing for people.
That's right.
Depending on our financial situation at the time, of course. But what do you do in the short term? I know people are talking about wind energy, and you support it as well. But that's probably years away. What are the immediate things you think this government should be doing in a short-term basis to be able to help balance the books or get closer to balance?
Well, we absolutely need to make sure that the industries we have now remain resilient. So we need to support our fisheries, for example. We need to make sure there are opportunities for forestry. We need to make sure that there's opportunity for innovation and post-secondary, and those students that come here. When you cut back from university and post-secondary and NSCC, you lose that tax revenue, not just of the students who come, but of the professors who come. That's all really important. And what we're really concerned about on the affordability front when it comes to things like tax revenue is that we're losing young people again for the first time in a long time. And that goes to how much housing costs and the lack of action on that file. That goes to how much groceries cost. You know, we just saw the Manitoba government put in place a plan we've been promoting for a long time, which is to take the HST off of groceries. So I think there's lots of opportunities to make life affordable and to continue to grow our revenue. And in the meantime, you know, this government needs to get its house in order, because Nova Scotians have really given them a lot of leeway, right? They said they were going to fix healthcare. People want that to happen. People work hard. They want to be able to see a doctor. They want to be able to live a decent life. But you know, now it's been 5 years. Rents have skyrocketed. Healthcare is not that much better. From the people we talk to, we're not hearing that. And so now people are wondering what comes next. And so this government needs to demonstrate that they're actually helping people with those pocketbook issues.
I want to leave you with this. I talked to you a year ago after the previous spring setting, and you said you thought you felt hopeful for the future because you felt people were engaged in the process. How are you feeling now? You're a year down the road. How are you feeling about government in this province right now?
Well, I feel I'm not that hopeful about our current government. I don't think that they're learning the lessons that they need to, but I remain hopeful about engagement. And you and I talked off air a little bit about the protests at Province House. I think what we saw was a controversial budget, and we saw people activated. So we're seeing people from every corner of this province, because that's where those budget cuts have really impacted people, from little visitor information centers and museums to arts organizations, African Nova Scotian organizations. They're hitting everybody. But people are engaging because they understand that, you know, what's happening in Province House impacts them directly. That makes me hopeful, because we need more people engaged in politics. We need more people remembering that this isn't an abstract thing. This is choices that impact everyone's lives, and everyone should have a say about that.
We'll leave it on that note. Claudia Chender, thank you very much.
Thank you.
To block ships from entering and exiting Iranian ports after talks this weekend failed to end the war.
And a New Brunswick woman is speaking out after a pharmacy gave her the wrong medication, landing her in the emergency room. Welcome back. 3 federal by-elections are taking place today, 2 in Toronto and 1 outside Montreal.
Winning just one of those races would deliver the Liberals a razor-thin majority government. North of Montreal in Terrebonne, the courts overturned the election result from last year, which the Liberals won by just 1 vote. The 2 Toronto ridings are considered safe seats for the party.
5 MPs have crossed the floor in recent months, increasing Liberal numbers. The party stands at 171 seats in the House of Commons and needs just 1 more to reach a majority.
An American blockade of the Strait of Hormuz has started. It is the latest development following the weekend's failed peace negotiations between Iran and the U.S. Katie Nicholson has more.
The U.S. blockade began precisely at 10 a.m. Eastern with the help of more than a dozen warships, and on the heels of a marathon weekend negotiation session between the U.S. and Iran that failed to produce a deal.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
Iran has threatened to hit back against the blockade, the IRGC spokesperson saying if the security of the ports of the Islamic Republic in Iran and the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman is threatened, no other port in the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman will be safe. The U.S. president warned Iran against launching any fast attack ships. If any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated, using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea. Donald Trump was asked whether the end game of the blockade was to get Iran back to the negotiating table or reopen the strait.
Maybe everything. I mean, both of those things, certainly, and more. We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen.
He also said Iran has already been in touch about a deal.
We've been called this morning by the right people, the appropriate people, and they want to work a deal. They would like to work a deal.
The shaky 2-week ceasefire continues to hold, despite the blockade, which NATO allies have declined to join.
We, the UK, will not be joining the blockade that the President announced.
Instead, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron will hold a summit this week with dozens of leaders with 2 main goals.
First, diplomatic efforts to bring pressure to bear for a negotiated end to the conflict and for the strait to be opened. Second, military planning to provide assurance to shipping as soon as a stable environment can be established.
This new blockade also made for a bit of a roller coaster day for oil, soaring at one point to $104 US a barrel before settling just under 100. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
Donald Trump lashed out at Pope Leo on social media over his criticism of the war in Iran. The U.S. president said he doesn't think the Pope is, quote, doing a very good job, and suggests that the pontiff stop catering to the, quote, radical left. Crystal Gamansing reports.
An escalation from U.S. President Donald Trump. He went from calling Pope Leo weak and terrible to his Truth Social page, including a photo in which the president resembles Jesus healing the sick. In response to a question about the level of attention and criticism from the U.S. president, Pope Leo, the first American pontiff, said he has no fear of either the Trump administration or speaking out loudly about the need and importance of peace.
The message of the church, my message, the message of the gospel, blessed are the peacemakers. I do not look at my role as being political, politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loudly.
And he kept talking about international law and the need for peace when he landed in Algeria, one of the 4 African countries the Pope is touring.
By respecting the dignity of everyone and allowing yourselves to be moved by the pain of others, instead of multiplying misunderstandings and conflicts, you can surely become protagonists of a new chapter in history. Today, this is more urgent than ever in the face of continuous violations of international law and neo-colonial tendencies.
When the president's remarks first appeared online late Sunday, Archbishop Paul Coakley, the president of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, issued a brief statement saying, "I am disheartened that the president chose to write such disparaging words about the Holy Father. Pope Leo is not his rival, nor is the Pope a politician. He is the vicar of Christ who speaks the truth of the gospel and for the care of souls." The U.S. president and his vice president, J.D. Vance, openly talk about their Christian values and the need to protect them. A 2025 Pew Research report on voting showed 55% of Catholics indicated they voted for the president in 2024. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, London.
And that image depicting Trump as a Jesus-like figure has since been deleted from social media.
A new report is shedding light on cancer in this country. While it is still the leading cause of death in Canada, there have been real strides in fighting the disease. But as Shauna Reid explains, there are also some worrisome trends emerging.
How did that shape your approach?
Cancer has touched Jason Ellis's life in unimaginable ways. In high school, he lost his mother to breast cancer. 5 years ago, his wife Marilyn was diagnosed with late-stage sarcoma. 1 year later, at age 30, she passed away.
It completely obliterated everything. We had just bought our first house, wanted to settle down, have kids.
And last summer, another devastating diagnosis, this time his own, a stage 3 head and neck cancer.
At that point, everything just shifted. It was almost a I can't believe it moment.
New modeling suggests cancer numbers are holding steady. This year, more than 254,000 Canadians will be diagnosed, and nearly 88,000 people will die from it. Lung, breast, prostate, and colorectal cancers will account for nearly half of new cases. And there are some concerning trends. Pancreatic and uterine cancers are increasing.
One of the leading risk factors for those cancer types is excess body weight. Nearly half of the Canadian population has a waist circumference that puts them at elevated risk.
While cervical and head and neck cancers are on the rise, despite prevention tools like screening programs and an HPV vaccine.
We aren't getting the coverage that is needed.
But there is some progress. Since the early 2000s, colorectal cancer cases have decreased by 30%, in part thanks to early detection.
We also have better treatments and better surgeries.
And people are living longer, says this oncologist.
Some of the patients that I would see 20 years ago would live on average a year. Now, 7 to 10 years later, they are still alive and well.
Jason Ellis completed chemo and radiation in December.
I'm still struggling with side effects, with potential for reoccurrence.
He will continue to be monitored while he navigates his life after treatment. Shauna Reid, CBC News, Toronto.
A UK inquiry has found the 2024 stabbing murders of 3 young girls in northern England was preventable. The girls were 9, 7, and 6 years old. They were killed by a 17-year-old boy in an indiscriminate knife attack at a Taylor Swift-themed dance workshop. He also severely wounded 8 other children and 2 adults. The report states it is highly likely the attack would not have happened if the parents of the teen attacker and authorities had acted in the years before. The inquiry chair said it is striking how many chances were missed to intervene given the risk the boy posed to others. The killer has since been sentenced to more than 50 years in prison.
A New Brunswick woman says she ended up in the hospital because a pharmacy gave her the wrong medication. The mix-up exposes a gap in the system that's meant to keep consumers safe.
Rosa Marcatelli from our Go Public team looks at what's being done to protect patients.
It should have been a routine pharmacy pickup. Instead, Marissa Dawson says it turned into a months-long ordeal that landed her in the ER.
Like I said, completely lethargic, and I was very faint. I couldn't move.
Her local pharmacy gave her blood pressure pills instead of her new allergy medication. She unknowingly took the wrong drug for 6 months. The error between 2 similar-sounding medications was only caught by a nurse in the ER.
I was scared.
Dawson says no pharmacist spoke to her when she picked up the prescription, a counseling step that could have prevented the error. Melissa Sheldrick knows the stakes.
Just a beautiful, healthy boy who had a fantastic future ahead of him.
Her 8-year-old son Andrew died in 2016 after a different pharmacy gave him the wrong medication. She's now a leading advocate for medication safety.
It's really frightening to know and to think about how powerful medications are and the impact that they have on our bodies.
More than 800 million prescriptions are dispensed in Canada every year, but the number of errors is unclear, partly because not all provinces report to the national database yet. Sheldrick says pharmacist workload and fatigue are part of the problem.
It really is strengthening those systems around them in order to support them with dispensing medications.
Dawson calls that a good start. She's switched pharmacies since the medication mix-up.
Now, when I pick up a prescription, I am double-checking everything.
Loblaw Companies Limited, which owns Shoppers Drug Mart, says what happened to Dawson was avoidable human error. It says it's since reviewed safety protocols with pharmacy staff. Rosa Marcatelli, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, we need the jury wet days in the spring so we can enjoy the summer even more. That's the best spin we can put on this for sure.
It's the contrast. Is that what's making it good? Okay.
Yeah, and listen, that is what we're pushing for, is a nice summer, and we don't want to be worrying about drought and all that stuff, so wildfires. So let's get the rain now and make those farmers happy. And yes, let's first have a look at our viewer picture of the day. We did see quite a bit of sun last week. This one from Fox Harbor.
Beautiful.
And Trisha Morrison with this great picture here. Yes, fantastic. Thanks to Trisha for sharing this. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. And as we look at the forecast for tomorrow, we are going to be looking at, those northwest winds becoming light into the afternoon. A little more persistent across Cape Breton and the Northumberland shore. That's why those temperatures are so vastly different there in the northeast than they are in the southwest, where places like Bridgewater will likely crack 16 to 17 degrees. The other reason is that the sun will break through earlier in the west, so temperatures will be given that chance to warm up. The sun is just such a big player this time of year. It has such an influence on those temperatures, as does the wind. And you can see the wind really influencing things on Wednesday. It's an east to northeast flow, as you can see with the arrows. And so that's an onshore flow for places like Cape Breton. Eastern parts of the mainland are just going to struggle, but we will see temperatures potentially cracking double digits through Yarmouth and Shelburne and Digby counties. Now, we'll see our first system here moving out. There's the break for Tuesday. Isolated chance for a shower in the morning, as I said, but looks like sun and cloud into the afternoon. That wave there pushes through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday afternoon looks just kind of cloudy. We'll be watching our next system approaching as we move into Thursday. Clouds may be a little bit capped, but afternoon and evening showers. Clearing again on Friday, Saturday okay, showers again Sunday.
There we go. All right, you're going to like this. Astronaut Christina Cook just got back from the moon, of course, and her dog's reaction to her return is beyond heartwarming. This is Cook being reunited by her dog Sadie after returning from the Artemis II trip.
As you can see, Sadie couldn't hold back her excitement. Cook also posted a video of the pair you see playing on the beach.
It's clear Sadie is happy. Her best friend is back home on Earth.
Oh, we all are.
Yeah.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.